Welcome to the SG Wristwatcher channel. Today I'll be comparing three watches: the Citizensilverleaf Lacquer NB1060, the Seiko Sub 033, which is a classic, the Chrono Tokyo, in this case the Toki, which is has been very popular. Let's start off with the Citizensilverleaf, which has been very popular on Instagram, but not many videos known about it. So firstly, we go through the specifications. It's 38mm in diameter, which is a very popular size. Next, it's a 12mm thick, and the lug to lug is 46.5mm, which is a very decent size for most people. You can see that what the outstanding characteristic of this watch is its green silver leaf dial. In the back, you have a Miura 9011 movement. Not much information is known about this, but it should be pretty similar to the Miura 9015 movement, with plus minus 20 seconds a day, 4 Hz beat rate, which gives it advantage over Seiko's offerings, 42-hour power reserve, and a quick set date. And also it has 100 meters of water resistance, which is very comparable to the Sub 033 and very useful for daily life, although I don't think you'll be getting this one wet anytime soon. Yep. And the price of this is about 1,200 Singapore dollars, although you can get it at a cheaper price, about $1,000 online. Next is the Sub 033, which is a classic. I don't think much needs to be said about it, but I'll just go through the specifications to refresh everyone. So this is 38mm in diameter, so very comparable with the Citizensilverleaf. Although the Citizensilverleaf, if you see over here, it does look bigger, and the reason for that is the dial aperture is actually significantly larger on the Citizen as compared to the Seiko. We'll get more into that later. It has a flat sapphire crystal at the top, 6R50 movement, 11mm thickness, and 45mm from lug to lug. So over here, it comes on a steel bracelet, as you can see, with 2 micro adjusts. Inside is the 6R50 movement with, I think, about 50 hours of power reserve, and it beats at a 3 Hz beat rate. At the back, it's a hardlex crystal, whilst you get sapphire at the front. For the Citizen as well, you get it, there's a dome sapphire crystal at the top. At the back, it doesn't say, but I would guess it should be mineral crystal. Next, I'll move on to the Chrono Tokyo. So, okay, yeah, one more thing. The Sub 033, when I bought it, it was about 410 Singapore dollars when it was soon after it was discontinued. I think in either 2017 or 2018. Right now, I think this probably goes for something like $700 Singapore dollars. Next, we go on to the Chrono Tokyo. Let me just get the hands out of the way. So the Chrono is 37mm in diameter. It's a micro band made by independent watchmaker Hajime Asaoka, but he wanted a more affordable line of for people who couldn't afford his independent watches. So he created this line, and I think now this seems to be his main focus. I'm not sure is he still making his other watches. So you can see 37mm in diameter. What's its thickness? I'm not too sure. don't have it here. It's about 11mm thick with this very domed sapphire crystal, which I love. It's a box sapphire, which is quite different from the normal dome sapphire that you see on the Citizen. So I think in terms of crystal, the Kurono has the best set. Lug to lug, I think it's about 45mm, and you can see the lugs are very slim and elegant. You can see the hands and the markers very well polished at 12, 3, 6 and 9, and it's actually very well made. But of course that comes at a cost, which is about 2,700 Singapore dollars, and it runs on a Miyota 90S5, which is a no date version of the Miyota 9015. It has, let's see, 24 jewels, beats at a 4Hz bit rate, and it only has 30 meters of water resistance. And you can see this one is the copper or salmon, and officially it's called the Toki color, which is named after one of the rare birds in Japan. Okay, so I think I'll compare the Citizen and the Seiko first, as I think these two are the most comparable and the most popular. So what we can see here is that although both state that they are 38mm in size, the Citizen actually looks fairly larger than the Sub 033 does, and I can confirm that on wrist they actually feel pretty different. The Citizen wears slightly larger, but I can show it to you. I have pretty small wrist at 13 centimeters, so you can see that yeah, it's still okay. But it should fit most people's wrists. The lugs are rather thick and long, and the dial aperture is wide, so giving it a larger feel. And the standout of this, of course, is that green silver leaf dial, which really plays with the light, and I think could be comparable to some of the grandseikos. The markers you can see are 3D faceted, so I think overall this is really a steal at the price of about 1,002 Singapore dollars. The handset you can see is bead blaster on one side and polish on the other, so it's really elegant. I really love that dial, and I think many people do as well. Next we go on to the Sub 033. So the Sub, I think everyone knows about it. At this whole price, $410 is still it was really a steal, and there hasn't really been a replacement made for the Sub 033. Seiko has made replacements for the Sub 017 Alpinist and some of the other models, but there are some others that look similar, but nothing at this 38mm size. And you can see the 45mm on my tiny wrist really fits better than the 46.5 on the Citizen. The markers for the Sub 033 are not as 3D. They are a bit simpler, but no complaints at this price. Finally, we go on to the Chrono Tokyo. And I think on a small wrist, this one really fits the best. I can't remember what's the lug to lug. It's probably like 44 or 43. Yeah, so the slimness of the lugs and the slimness of the watch really gives it a dressy feel, that although all three watches here are pretty dressy, I would say in terms of dressiness, the Kurono really takes it. Of course, its price is the highest, and I think the movement is pretty controversial to some at this price. If you compare these two, look at the lux. These two really have such different presence in terms of lux. So the thick lux of the Citizen definitely make it wear bigger, even though in theory these two are only 1mm difference in size. So just a final comparison of the Citizen and the Seiko. The Seiko has, if you look in terms of the bezel, the bezel on the Seiko is slightly thicker and compared to that of the Citizen, and yeah, so that makes it wear smaller than the Citizen. Yeah, something to take note of if you buy it. Either way, all three watches are great. I highly recommend this. I think even though this wears larger than the Sub, on 90% of wrists, it should still wear very well. Okay, thanks for watching, and you can follow me on Instagram at sgwristwatcher. Thank you.